Welcome to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. And today we got a little special edition where we're going to get pretty geeked out here. So there's no sports on this one. So, you know, don't expect any LeBron talk or any playoff talk. This is straight geek mode right now. So I'm your boy Chris G today with my special guest,
John West.
And man, we're going to get into some Marvel stuff. We're going to get into some DC stuff. We're going to get into some comic book stuff.
Yeah.
Just some stuff that,
yeah.
You know what? Just some stuff we've been getting requests to do because you know, some people that know us know how much we're into the comic book world and how much Quet is trying to get into the comic book world. Unfortunately, we don't got D-Ruck with us here today because he loves it too. Or we don't got Big Unk with us because he can school us all. But we do got my boy John in, and we're just going to hit the ground running, man, and start debating these different topics. So, off camera, we started talking about DC, Superman versus Batman. Got just horrible reviews. What was your take on it, man?
To be honest, I loved it.
Really?
I loved it. Due to the fact that I work with kids, I've seen the movie multiple times.
Okay.
By multiple, I mean like I've seen it like 5 times in theaters. And each time I saw it, I wasn't bored. I didn't, sleep until my favorite part came on, which really made me feel that the film really stuck with me and resonated with me in a way that it really followed a lot of comic book structure. Mm-hmm. If you're a Zack Snyder fan, you probably like this movie because Zack Snyder loves comic books, graphic novels. A lot of this film was taken from the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel. Mm-hmm. And, if you know that comic, a lot of the people who enjoyed that film, they knew that comic. And that's kind of what the problem was with a lot of the critics that, something tells me that, these critics on Rotten Tomatoes don't really read comics and they're just grading this film as a film. And it's
against Marvel, against a film franchise that's really established itself as the juggernaut,
if you will, of, comic book films. And DC's just trying to start. And Zack Snyder also had to do with one movie in 2 hours and 40 minutes what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done with 8 films.
Well,
and and that's what makes it, hard to really compare. And, but I love the film, to be honest.
So I'm assuming you're in the minority as far as people who enjoyed it, because I definitely did not. And mainly for some of the factors that you just, brought to light. I didn't like that they were trying to stuff a story. They were trying to build, to me, the whole DC universe in one film. Mm-hmm. That obviously Marvel took years. They're already in phase 3 of different stages of building everything up. For me, it had became a bit watered down. Now, I will say that visually, I'm a Zack Snyder fan, 300 all the way. And visually, I thought it was breathtaking. His visual concept, the way it looked, it was just so, it had the grittiness of the Dark Knight.
Yes.
Visually. And then it had also, Superman tended to be a little more upbeat. And I felt like it captured also some of his moments of just being more upbeat when he had his whole single thing. I could have done without Lex Luthor. And I love Jesse Eisenberg. He's in some of my favorite movies, actually. So, but I didn't like him as Lex Luthor. And I just didn't like just them trying to push and cram all of this information into a almost 3-hour movie. It started to get a bit drawn out to me, and that's where I didn't like. Now, I didn't go to the movies and see it 5 times, but I do have Showbox. Shout out to Showbox, and I was able to watch it multiple times, and every time I watched it, I felt the same. Now, I don't think it was a dumpster fire like some other people. Some hardcore Marvel fans are just like, it's the worst movie ever. I actually thought Ben Affleck did a really, really good job.
Fantastic.
As playing an older Batman. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
A more seasoned Batman. And I thought he did a great job as Batman. And I thought, his name escapes me right now for some reason.
Henry Cavill?
Yes. I couldn't even think of it to save my life. I thought Henry did a great job as Superman, as he did in Man of Steel, which is one of my favorite Superman movies ever.
Great.
I mean, I think
great
that
film.
captured Superman. I thought the shortcoming, just to get a little bit off topic, but I thought the shortcoming in some of the past Superman movies were he never really had a nemesis. It was just, you got to see that bullets can't affect him, that only kryptonite can make him weak. There was nobody that was somewhat his equal. And then when Zor and all his captains and stuff came in, he actually had to fight people that was as strong as him and kind of get his ass kicked in certain spots. It was phenomenal.
Shout out to Michael Shannon as portraying General Zod was great job. Amazing.
Great job. And maybe because I saw Man of Steel, I was anticipating that Batman versus Superman, where it's going to be more on that line. I just didn't feel it.
I'll tell you this. The only thing about Batman vs. Superman that kind of left me wanting more was when you look back at so the Dark Knight Returns comic doesn't really have much to do with a quarrel with Superman. It's just more of him battling with himself, whether he wants to be Batman or not, which is why in the movie, when he goes to see his parents' tomb, the bat comes out and bites him, which is like a metaphor, for his alter ego and stuff like that. And he's having these night terrors. But when you look at Ben Affleck, how he portrayed him, okay, and then you look at Henry Cavill, how he portrayed Superman, what I really wanted was a little bit more of a cat and mouse game. And that's kind of how it was in the comics, like there's a scene in the comics where, like when Superman and Batman meet, when he crashes into him and Superman kind of just kicks the car to the corner.
Effortlessly, too.
Effortlessly. Superman's so full of himself because he knows I could crush this guy if I wanted to.
Right.
And Batman's like putting a tracker on his cape. And then that's how Batman figures out he's who he is in real life. And then Superman looks at it, and then he uses his supervision and looks all the way towards Gotham, and Batman's on the binoculars like, yeah, you're Clark Kent. Like, I was looking for scenes like that, and I didn't really get that. And when that scene happened, which was an amazing Batmobile scene,
an amazing scene.
I thought I was like, okay, here comes the cat and mouse game. Right. I wasn't crazy about Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor the first time I saw the film. Okay. And then talking with one of my friends, he didn't like that. He felt Jesse Eisenberg went with a Heath Ledger approach to Lex Luthor, when Lex Luthor is known to everyone in the comic book world as a suave, a cool, calculated guy, the kind of guy who sips red wine while he kills you kind of guy. And he looked crazy and really out of his mind.
Yes.
And I think what Jesse Eisenberg was trying to tap into was Lex Luthor's unhealthy, what's the word I'm looking for? Obsession with Superman. An obsession with dethroning him as this god among us all. And I think that's kind of where he kind of got lost. And I think also, too, this movie served as an origin story for him. He had long hair. He clearly had just inherited his business from his dad. He was more of a geek than the business mind. So I'm thinking that when the next movie comes out, he'll act more suave and cool.
Now, if he Lex Luthor we know.
Right. Now, if he continues this Heath Ledger approach, then I'm going to really start to have more of a problem with it, because Lex was never, he was never a mad scientist. He was mad, but not a mad scientist. But other than that, man, I really thought the movie was great. I love the fight scene between him and Superman. I think they did a great job. Wonder Woman was great.
If Batman's going to win, that's how it's going to be. It's going to be something like that.
Well, the whole point is Batman can outsmart anybody.
Right.
Batman has he has basically a kill switch for the entire Justice League, and they don't even know it.
Right.
Because that's just this guy, no matter what, he is for the people. He is for the human race. Right. And that's really what it comes down to. You know what I mean? And that's what I've always respected about Batman as a superhero, was that he's not very super at all. You know what I mean? And that's really what I always loved about him. And I felt like this film really brought that to light. And then I also like that, in my opinion, anytime Batman was fighting on screen, this particular movie took a shit on every other Batman movie that's ever been made, because every other Batman movie that's ever been made focused way too much on Bruce Wayne or Batman's detective skills, and not on the fact that this guy trained with Ra's al Ghul. This guy knows how to break bones and snap necks, and no one ever really focused on that. Right. He's always doing these quick fight scenes. They're shot terribly, and this film was the first time you really got to see the work Batman puts in. It looked like I thought I was playing Arkham City watching those scenes.
Well, I can agree with you for the most part, other than when he went against Bane, because I did very much enjoy when Bane broke his back in the comic, and when they, obviously redid it for the movie. I was a big fan of that particular fight scene, of how much more superior Bane was in fighting.
I'll give you that
in that particular scene, but I can't agree with. They've always, it's. I don't want to say kiddie, but it's almost been in most of his other fight scenes. It's just like
a joke. Like no one can stop him. Like he's just Batman and boom, boom, boom. But this film, like if you really looked at how they broke down frame by frame, like the scene when he got punched and got knocked down and he hit the guy with the knee, then the other guy with the elbow, he got stabbed in the shoulder. His head, his cowl is bulletproof. Like you can tell that he's older because he's taking older guy provisions. But hold on, Bo, because you can still get that work.
Still get that work.
You know what I mean?
It's so accurate that you say, like you were playing Arkham City, because in Arkham City, when you're playing the game, that's exactly how they've made the fight scene. It's just like
the way it should be.
Crack. Bang, you know
the way it should be.
That's the way it should be.
You trained with the League of Assassins. There's no way you don't bring that home with you to Gotham.
No way. So I agree. I can get with that with the fighting style. But overall, in a whole, and before we get to that point, I gotta definitely bring in the Wonder Woman part. I do like Gail. I think it's Gadot.
I say Gadot.
If
I ever meet her, I'll ask her how she said.
I'll just call her Gail. But I do actually like her as Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt she was underutilized in the movie. If the movie is going to be Batman versus Superman with Wonder Woman, I just felt like they could have, just gave her more to chomp on. I would have liked to see more of her other than the cat and mouse scene that her and Bruce had in the at the Lex Luthor
So that film
party.
left you wanting more Wonder Woman.
It definitely left me wanting more because obviously you know what Wonder Woman can do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see her when she was, when her and Superman, Batman was hiding, when they were banging with Doomsday.
Right.
Because she's on that level.
Right.
I would have loved to see more of her if they just would have did maybe a flashback or maybe if they would have had maybe some when they went to what was it called, the Metahumans files, maybe if on her file they showed her doing something like that instead of just showing an old picture of her when she was fighting in the war. I would have loved to see seen more of that in the movie as well.
I think they did that too because I think they're not sure where they want to go with her yet. At that point when they were making the film.
Yeah, that's very possible.
And I think also too, they wanted to leave us wanting more Wonder Woman to really help with the anticipation for her film. Because her film's the first to come out before, as far as solo superhero DC films. So I think that's kind of why they did that.
True.
But I could totally agree with what you're saying. I just feel that people who really are against that film, I think the higher percentage, which is why it's hard for me to really value a lot of those opinions because unlike you, a lot of these people don't know comics. They don't know DC. Mm-hmm. They've been brainwashed with the excellence that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah.
100%.
And I think that's a huge, we're going to see where this conversation turns when we talk about the Civil War. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole nother plateau. It's a whole nother level field. And another thing too is people don't want to see that darkness. There wasn't too many sunny days in Metropolis or Gotham. The sunniest day was when they was in Iraq or wherever that country was in the beginning. Yeah. That was the sunniest day in the film because DC as a whole is a little more darker franchise. If you're looking for the Justice League of America cartoon show, I strongly advise you hop on Netflix and watch that. This is not the direction they're going. They're going to tiptoe on you know what I mean? Like they're going to tiptoe on that envelope pushing. They're not looking to fill seats with your son and your son's friends and all that for a sleepover. They're looking to fill seats up with comic book lovers, people who have been mad at DC since Ryan Reynolds was the Green Lantern. Okay, that's what they're trying to fill the seats with.
That was definitely the wrong route.
Which is why Ben Affleck said himself. He goes, "Guess what? I don't give a damn what any of these critics say, what these old farts say. Yeah. This is for my fans." And I looked at Ben Affleck and I went like this.
Well, listen,
you the man.
I know people were
favorite Bruce Wayne or in Batman I've ever seen.
I know people were kind of upset or didn't, and I don't know why they don't like Ben Affleck. But I always said, "Have you not seen The Town?" Because if you needed to know if Ben Affleck could get work done, go watch The Town because he was.
The guy's a phenomenal actor.
Also watch Gone Girl. He was magnificent in Gone Girl. I mean, that was a phenomenal movie.
Guy's a great actor.
He's a great actor.
He does a lot of bad movies. Listen, sometimes that kills him.
Listen, he did Geely. listen, it happens.
He's a Nicolas Cage at times, but it doesn't mean you're a bad actor.
Hey, Nicolas Cage got some really bad movies, but you know what? National Treasure is an okay little thing he's got going on. Okay, like, it's all right. I know he did Ghost Rider, but hey, listen.
Oh man.
But I did like that. I like that DC. The thing that I do like that DC is doing, I think that Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah.
Is really gonna set him up.
Yeah.
It's almost. I thought that Batman versus Superman had the potential to maybe fall and not be. I mean, listen, it still made a lot of money. There's going to be a sequel. Everybody knows this, but obviously it didn't get exactly what they wanted. I find it real hard that Suicide Squad is not going to live up to just the hype.
It actually already is doing extremely well with critics that have already been screened, that have already screened it. It's sitting a lot better with people than Batman did. I think that's the other reason too why the movie didn't let me down too much is because they were saying that it's not that good a couple months in advance.
True.
And Suicide Squad is getting the complete opposite of that. I'm hearing that Will Smith was excellent as Deadshot. I'm hearing that Margot Robbie was killing Harley Quinn. I'm hearing Killer Croc is great. I'm just hearing great things about everybody.
Just a little shout out to Margot Robbie.
Absolutely.
She is a really, really good actress. And she kind of, she's a gem. She's that odd. You get a lot of good looking actresses that can't act that, they put in spots. And then every now and again, you get like your Scarlett Johansson, who's like, she's hot, but she can act. Like, she's really, really a good actress. And then Margot Robbie is in the same, cause she was phenomenal in Wolf of Wall Street. Phenomenal. And then when she played in Focus, which didn't do really well, she in her role was great.
Yeah.
And she also did this other movie called Z for Zachariah. It was like a post-apocalyptic type of a movie that she did with Chihuahua. And I can never get his last name, but you know who I'm talking about. The black guy from 12 Years a Slave. And Chris Pine. You know who I'm talking about. And she did... Yeah.
Shout out to names we can't pronounce.
Yeah, shout out to names we can't pronounce. I don't know why you got a name like that. You're from London, but again, listen, we're getting off subject. But she did phenomenal in that movie. So just in the brief clips that we've seen of her in Suicide Squad,
amazing.
I want to watch it just for her because she already looks like she's embodying just the craziness. Because Harley Quinn doesn't get played that much in theaters. I mean, it's Joker. You always get Joker, but you rarely got a Harley Quinn. And if you can play a Harley Quinn good, it's a phenomenal character.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal character. So, I'm very much anticipating Suicide Squad, and I think that's going to be...
I'm excited to see Jared Leto as the Joker. I'm excited to see his take. I'm excited to see his take, and I'm very excited to see, because there's been a lot of rumors speculating about if he is in fact the Joker. Because what happens is, so basically, Batman has gone through a bunch of like different Robins. You have the first Robin, which is Dick Grayson, who becomes Nightwing and goes to protect his own city. Then you have Jason Todd. Jason Todd is an orphan that Batman kind of took in, and the Joker supposedly killed him. Turns out he didn't kill him. He just tortured him and made him insane, and he becomes the Red Hood. So there's a rumor going around that this particular Jared Leto Joker is in fact Jason Todd. Because if you look at him and how his tattoos and stuff like that, there's markings on him that fit the markings in the Batman vs. Superman scene where you see where Robin has been stabbed. And that Robin costume is Jason Todd's. The original Robin didn't have the staff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm wondering to see his take. I'm wondering to see which direction he goes. And I'm wondering to see where the filmmakers have taken it. Because if they take it that Jason Todd route, which I would be very excited, it would make me even more excited for the next Batman standalone film, which would derive from the comic where Batman is really struggling with the guilt of getting a Robin killed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And getting Batgirl paralyzed. Because the Joker paralyzes Batgirl and then she becomes the Oracle. You know what I mean? So... But yeah, I mean, Suicide Squad, I really think is going to steal the show as far as comic book movies go.
Just FYI, before you finish, you can find a lot of that stuff out. If you even just played Arkham City, you could find, they get into that storyline.
They get into the storyline very heavy.
Especially in the last Arkham where Joker is a figment of Batman's imagination and he's going through all of the things. And,
absolutely.
And then Oracle is also, Gordon's daughter, but that's even more further down the line.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, you know, everybody knows that Civil War, it was the best movie that everybody's ever seen in everybody's life, and da-da-da. And
I don't feel that way.
I felt that way too, but I think as far as like something different and something new and something fresh and something that is going to really transcend and really blow this DC universe up, I think Suicide Squad is the movie to do it.
I think Suicide Squad is the movie to do it because, listen, I saw Civil War. Yes, it was exciting. Yes, you know, I struggled. First of all, they didn't follow the comic Civil War, all right? Which I guess because of where they are with the movies, like you can't follow because Thor was dead at the time. There was like a robot Thor,
right?
Or that Reed Richards had made, that built, and then Hulk was off on I think he was off on like another planet at the time.
Hulk was on the other planet.
Yeah. So. And that kind of gets into the
Spider-Man was grown and on Iron Man's side from the beginning.
Iron Man's side from the beginning, and it wasn't an accord that they were trying to sign in the real Civil War. In the real Civil War, it was like
Superhero
Registration Act. So they just wanted to know who was who. And obviously, a lot more people died in that one.
Hercules, Goliath, a lot of guys.
Goliath was the first one to die, I believe.
Yes.
In the first big fight, Goliath was the first one to die. Which I kind of thought of Goliath when Ant-Man went big. It made me kind of think of that a little bit, but
yeah.
So that was kind of the first thing that kind of irked me, but I had to kind of accept that they couldn't go that route just because of the arc of the story that they're on. They're kind of beelining for the whole Infinity Gauntlet thing.
Well, yeah, the Civil War is its own saga.
Right. So
they couldn't really focus
on it like that. And then you just, at this point in the game, I don't think they could just be dropping, you know, major, because Captain America dies.
Yeah.
He gets shot on, it's not at the White House, he's like going up some court building or something when he gets shot or something like that. So, and he dies. So at this point in Marvel's universe, they haven't really explained the multiverse or anything like that yet. They haven't done anything.
Well, yeah, the only time we've ever seen a reference of the negative zone was in the debacle that was the Fantastic Four reboot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that was and that's because that wasn't done by MCU.
Right.
That was done by Fox.
Yeah.
Which, that's we can get into a whole nother conversation about that. But, I mean, listen, as far as X-Men are concerned, I think Fox is doing a good job with that.
Disagree, but we'll get to that later.
Oh, wow. Okay. I do like the Days of Future Past and all that stuff. Obviously, I mean, you can't disagree with Deadpool, can you?
I can't disagree with Deadpool, but Deadpool actually, there were some Marvel Cinematic Universe writers involved.
Yes,
in that film.
I do know that. Well,
that is not all Fox, so I refuse to give Fox the credit.
Okay, fair enough. But,
I do give Fox the credit for making us wait this long, though, for Deadpool. I'll give Fox the credit
100%.
But I will not give it the credit.
I don't know if you heard the struggle. I heard like Ryan Reynolds was trying to get this for like 10 years. He was trying to get this done.
Yeah. But their movies are so bad that they're like, dude, we're not going to make a movie about a loudmouth, foul-mouthed merc. Like, we're not going to do it. And he's like, but Blade worked. And he was like, but Blade 3 was whack. But it's like, that's because you guys went off the reservation like you always do.
When they brought Dracula, I was so done.
X-Men 1, X-Men 2, great. X-Men 3, off the reservation.
Oh my
X-Men First Class, you're still off the reservation. X-Men Days of Future Past. The only thing I commend that film for is trying to fix the mistakes that they made in the previous game.
That's why I liked it, because they definitely were trying to.
They did that while still making more mistakes and still just not being a good. You know what the problem is with X-Men? I'm gonna tell you the problem with X-Men. The problem with X-Men is Fox is so stupid as far as their production team, as far as Bryan Singer as a director when it comes to the X-Men franchise.
Okay.
All you have to do, is either go on iTunes or go on Netflix and YouTube the 1990s X-Men cartoon, take a few episodes at a time, strung together, and make a movie.
Wasn't it perfect?
Plug in Famke Janssen, plug in the guy who plays Cyclops, plug in Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is how you get it done. But no, the problem with comic books and being brought into the film world is that you get directors that read the comic book and say, wow, you know what? This successful franchise, this thing that's been awesome for 50 plus years, I think I can make it better.
Yeah, you're right.
And guess what?
You're right about that.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Listen, if anybody took...
I'm sick and tired of Mystique being a hero. I'm sick and tired of Mystique leading the X-Men.
I can agree with
I
you
don't
on
like,
that.
I don't like Apocalypse looking like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers films. Okay. I just don't like it. The only thing I like about the new X-Men is Michael Fassbender is a magnificent Magneto.
Yes,
and James McAvoy is a magnificent Professor X. And Hugh Jackman has really transformed as Wolverine over the years. I was looking at a picture of him online because this is the next Wolverine movie will be his final stint as Wolverine. Saying, yeah. And how he looked in X-Men 1 was dropped in 2000.
Yeah.
To how he looked in this Wolverine.
We're talking about.
It's amazing.
We're talking about 16 years.
16
of growth,
years
though,
of Ed Whites, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of protein shakes
jacked.
go into making them look like that. You know, a lot of deadlifts. Okay, get them thighs right.
Again, like Deadpool said, it rhymes with Paul Vereen. But, no, he was. Listen, I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Even though I am definitely in the minority. I'm just not a big Wolverine character guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's a very cliche guy. Oh, my life sucks. It's been around forever.
I'm
cliche.
I'm excited about Gambit because I've always been a big fan of Gambit.
I was till I found out Channing Tatum was playing him.
Give him a break. Everything is not the stripper movie. What is that movie called?
Magic Mike.
Magic Mike. Everything's not Magic Mike.
I like Channing Tatum. I think he's funny.
He was alright in
he's a good action guy. But I can't see him as Gambit. When I see Gambit,
who do you see playing Gambit?
He's too old now, but you know what? One of Ralph Fiennes, the guy from Enemy at the Gates.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
I see someone like that playing Gambit. If I had to go off somebody right now, to be honest with you, I don't know, because as far as like the younger guys go, I just don't see too many actors that could really pull that role off. Look wise, maybe like a Liam Hemsworth, like with dark hair though, and then they'd have to give him some contacts, but like I don't know, and I think too, Gambit is my favorite X-Men of all time, so I'm very particular when I see somebody wants to play him. And, you know, Channing Tatum to me has not given me enough classics to now bring to life such an iconic,
it's a classic.
such an iconic, character to life. So
no, I can see your take.
And I just don't trust Fox Pictures. I just don't trust Fox Pictures. I don't trust anything X-Men. I just got a text message from one of my buddies, another comic book fan. He just saw X-Men because it's on, one of those streaming sites, and he already told me to wait for it to come out on DVD. He said
X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, he said Batman vs Superman is 100 times better, and he hated Batman vs Superman. So imagine how bad he thinks this movie is going to be. And we argued because he liked Days of Future Past, and I didn't. I
did like Days of Future Past.
I hated the futuristic Sentinels. I hated that.
I can give you the Sentinels. I didn't like the Sentinels. If you're going to do the Sentinels, do them right.
Yeah.
Do them as...
The Sentinels look more accurate when they were in the 60s than it did in the future.
You're right.
And then the Sentinel head in X-Men Last Stand, those look better. So I don't know what they were doing with that. And I've never been a fan of the lineup of X-Men heroes. And I understand that you want to deviate from the norm and what everybody knows. You can't make X-Men films without Scott Summers as Cyclops. No, you can't do it. You cannot have an X-Men team. I'm sorry, you can't have an X-Men team without Scott Summers, without Jean Grey, without Beast. You can't have it without those three. You can't do it.
Well, listen. First of all, Scott Summers is pretty much the Captain America of the X-Men.
Yeah, he's exactly what
he's the leader.
That's
Whether you like him or not, that's what Scott is. And obviously, Jean Grey and Wolverine and
Storm. You need all those guys.
Let me tell you what I did. I tell you what I dislike the most about the X-Men. Just how Fox has done it over the years. To me, Rogue is one of the strongest.
Where has Rogue been?
Where
has she been?
Well, she was played by Anna Paquin briefly. And
who I didn't like already.
Who I didn't like as her, but then they played her down as this she just wasn't strong.
Sad, lost little girl. And the only time you've ever really known her in the comics, she was a brazen, badass chick.
Badass. Fucking badass.
You know what I mean? You're going to get this work, sugar. And then she's going to throw you across the room. Like Rogue was punching Sentinels in the face and their heads was flying off.
Again.
But,
just to piggyback
she's
on
a sad little orphan in the X-Men? Come on.
A la the 1990s cartoon series where we grew up on Rogue and it's like, dude, come on.
But that was taken directly from the comics.
Yeah,
it's not like we're only quoting the cartoon because that's what we know. That is the Rogue we know. I don't know a Rogue with dark hair that's mad sad on the train by herself. I don't know that Rogue. I don't know who she is. No. Never met her.
Right.
You met her?
No,
never met her.
No,
I don't know.
I would have to.
Never seen her before.
I would have to agree.
Thank you, Bryan Singer. Like what? Like I just, and my thing.
But you're gonna watch it though, aren't you? You're gonna watch the new X-Men Apocalypse. You are.
I'm gonna watch it.
Of course.
I'm so sad about it.
Because real comic book guys, you have no choice.
You have no choice.
Even if you're gonna bitch the whole time. You're gonna watch it to just see
the whole
for yourself.
time.
But
to get to you about Civil War.
Yeah.
When you said Civil War, and you didn't like how, the only thing you really didn't like was that it kind of.
There was one more thing I didn't like, but go ahead.
That didn't follow the comic. Well, everything you say I agree with, but I want to give it a little bit more credit for following the outline of the comic.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of the division.
The division of the two teams. Not to mention, crisis leads to the government getting involved.
Fair.
You had the woman at the elevator that said, "I blame you, Tony Stark." Yep. And in the comics, it was the woman that approached Tony Stark after a summit regarding one of her kids because, they blew up the school in Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
So,
which is controversial.
Which is very controversial. But I was still very impressed that they even took the time to say, "You killed him and I blame you." For them to really do that, I thought was huge.
And to get Alfre Woodard, obviously an accomplished actress, to deliver that key thing that kind of flipped the switch in Tony Stark. Mm-hmm. That I thought that was good. I really, really enjoyed that part of it. Yeah. And, that's just a little nuances if you.
The only thing I did not like about the film, to be honest, was the end. Because I feel like the end, there was no resolution to the conflict at hand.
100%.
And now we're going to move on to all these other films. And now we're going to move on to the Infinity War.
But we got to resolve that before we get to the Infinity War.
But is there still a Sokovia Accords? Well, if you look at the Marvel film lineup, there is no Captain America film before Thanos comes. There's not one.
Black Panther. I was watching YouTube and somebody was pretty much running down the same thing. Like you can't do it in Galaxy 2 because that's its own thing.
You have to do it in Black Panther. It's
you
the
can't
only
do
movie
it
where
in
it's going to be Earth.
Doctor Strange because that's going to be.
Oh, he's on a whole nother.
That's another.
Quest.
That's a whole.
He's on a whole nother quest.
A whole nother level. So you have to. At some point you got to get the team, reconnected on the same. On the same wavelength.
I think Black Panther.
You got to do it at Black Panther.
It's either going to be Black Panther or the Miss Marvel film. Those are the only two films, or Ant-Man 2. But Ant-Man 2 now.
After now.
But even Ant-Man 2 now, I don't know what they're going to do with that because
it's supposed to be Ant-Man and Wasp.
Right, and that was kind of upset that she wasn't part of that Civil War. I thought she was going to be in the Civil War.
She should have been.
I thought they would have included her.
You can't announce her in it, and you haven't even given her. Even though obviously we know who it is now, but
people would have known enough. They would have gotten the gist enough. So I think that would have been cool to see her. In the film.
I agree with you, and I believe you're right. But Marvel kind of always likes to have an origin story. Like, 'cause even Black Panther kind of you kind of just got to see a little bit.
I didn't like that either. I didn't like that. I did like Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. Shout out to him because he's killing the game right now.
Yeah. I didn't know he was 42.
Yeah, he's up there, man.
I thought he was a younger guy.
He's up there. He's up there. But I didn't like that they had the bombing kill his dad. For any of you guys that don't know comics, that's completely made up. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, the guy who plays the guy that Andy Serkis plays in the Avengers: Age of Ultron film, Ulysses Klaue, the guy that Ultron buys the vibranium from. There's a scene there where he goes, "This came at a high cost." He is actually the one who kills Black Panther's dad.
That's why Klaue is his nemesis.
Right, which is why his name is Ulysses Klaue, because he stabbed him in the back with his claw hand. So, and obviously I'm sure he'll come to light because he lost his hand in Avengers: Age of Ultron. He's not dead. Maybe we'll see him in Black Panther. And
they have to.
And I understand the need to change things with comics because unless you follow it correct from day one, you have to change things. And I think what makes Marvel strong is, as far as the general public is concerned, they tend to change things that people don't necessarily care about. Or don't know enough about. Like, the only thing Marvel's ever really changed that drastically affected my opinion of their films was Iron Man 3 when they made the Mandarin a joke. And if anybody knows Iron Man, the Mandarin is to Iron Man that the Joker is to Batman. So how do you do that?
Because then you get Ben Kingsley and you're just like...
And then you make him a joke.
And then it's
like one of the best actors ever.
Okay. That was so... I got a lot of problems with Iron Man 3, but we won't dive into that. That might be the worst Marvel film ever did.
Hands down, it was. Well, as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe goes,
that might have been the worst one. But they definitely missed it. I mean, it still did well, but
it just didn't follow the comics, and I felt that it was unnecessary. And the other thing I don't like about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is their mistreatment of villains. As far as just film franchises go, I've never been one for killing villains after the first time you see them.
True.
Like, you read these comics, these guys come back again and again and again and again and again. And obviously, yeah, if you see Batman versus, like, no one wants to see a Batman trilogy where all three movies he's fighting the Joker.
Right.
Of course not. However, it's nice to see those guys involved. It's nice to see those guys influence other evil. It's nice to see those things happen. And you can't have that if you're killing everybody off. Like, you know, Iron Man, they killed off the first guy he fought, Sebastian. Obadiah Stane.
Okay.
They killed him off. If you read the comics, Obadiah Stane and Iron Man go at it for years, not only on the super villain versus superhero front, but on the business front.
Yep.
Obadiah Stane's trying to take out Iron Man's company from the ground up for years. You kill this guy one film. You know? Thank God Loki's still alive, because that would have just been, you know. But you want to know what? You want to know what? He was supposed to die. The only reason why they changed that last minute in the script, and the only reason why is because he was killing it as Loki.
He's so good.
He was so good. They say, you know, we're gonna have to keep this guy because he was just incredible. So, but if it wasn't for that, they just keep killing and killing.
Well,
they
killed
Ultron. You can't do that.
Which, if you read Ultron was so. The problem I had with Age of Ultron is I felt like they could beat Ultron, any one of them, whenever they wanted. They just had to get close to him. Where Ultron was he was the
bad man.
Like, they could not see him. And listen, all shouts out to Scarlet Witch, but Scarlet Witch is not killing Ultron, and like that's not happening. I refuse to believe that. So I didn't like that. I'm anxious to see what they're going to do. Obviously, Thanos has been in the backdrop of all the movies, but
I don't know if they're going to do it right.
They better.
I mean, so.
We're talking about like a god here.
I mean, Thanos in the comics punched the Hulk so hard that he turned back into Bruce Banner. Now, can you just sit back and really process what that means? Like, Hulk was like, nah, I'm Gucci.
Let me tell you something. I don't want good problem. Black Bolt happens to be one of my favorite,
Inhuman.
One of my favorite, just superhero. And, I mean, listen, when Black Bolt speaks, like, literally worlds can be destroyed by Black Bolt's voice. And like, Thanos took it like a G, man. Like, Thanos took that like a G. So
I really hope they do justice,
because, they better.
Villains do not get done justice in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even Ronan the Accuser and Guardians of the Galaxy, which was such a great film.
It really
was
such an
awesome film.
It was.
But Ronan was a joke. And the thing is, the only time it made sense to play Ronan was when he was talking to Thanos. Because Thanos,
obviously.
And they had to do that scene because they had to give us something more than some post-credits crap. So they had to really let us know, okay, what's this dude Thanos really about? I will bathe the starways in your blood. That's what he's about. Like, okay, brother, we'll wait till Infinity Wars. But as far as Ronan goes, like,
I got something, but
he's tough, man. And Guardians of the Galaxy just killed him like that because they all could touch the orbit. And like, I just feel like the only thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is they're so obsessed with getting to the Infinity Wars that I do feel like they're rushing a bit. And they're giving you a great film, and then all right, let's end it. Kill the bad guy. Post credits. Next film. And it's like, people are really brainwashed by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And don't get me wrong, it is the greatest thing since sliced bread, okay?
Dude,
as far as film franchises go.
They did it so well.
But they're definitely like, if you're a real comic book fan and you're old school and you're a little older in your age and you're not, a teenager that reads comics or somebody's son, you're catching on like, really, guys? Like,
so here's my question for you. What do you think about... See, obviously, if you read the comic books and you know who Thanos is, you know his obsession and love for death. And not just death, like you dying, like the actual incarnation of death. Do you think they would actually bring that to the cinematic universe?
His wife death?
Yeah. Now, that.
I want to say yes. I want to say yes, but then
totally
again,
geek out over that.
You're teetering on that line because, the family's like, why is he married to death? I mean, he's a bad guy, but why is he married to death? So that's going to be a big issue. So I don't know if she'll really be there, like in the comics there, or just something in his mind.
Or do you think his obsession will just be over getting all the Infinity Stones?
No, his obsession is more than that, because when
right now I feel like it's only the stones.
He wants the stones because he knows that having all the stones make you the most powerful person in the galaxy. But I also feel like there's something else going on. Especially that last cutscene that we saw him in when he puts the glove on at the end of Age of Ultron. He goes, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And the glove had no stones on it yet.
Because we know where a few of the stones are, but we're still missing a few.
We're only missing two. We're missing two. We're going to see one in Doctor Strange, and I'm assuming the next one will be in Thor, or it'll be in the Guardians 2. I'm thinking it'll be in Thor only because we just saw one at Guardians 2. So let's put one. Let's put Thor back on the map, because Thor kind of gets a lot of heat as far as like. I haven't liked any of the Thors. I haven't liked any of them. Here goes some of the heat right here.
I haven't. I just haven't. The first one I thought was garbage, and the second one was better, but I just listen. If it wasn't for Loki,
you gotta really like that medieval undertone, Loki, and you gotta really like that fantasy stuff.
I really like Thor. I really
so
do.
So what's your issues with the film? Just like the writing? Is it the actors? I guess
it's the writing, and when I stack Thor up against Captain America, even though I didn't like the first Captain America, but let's say Civil War and Winter Soldier and Iron Man 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy, I just don't think it competes. It's not as good as those.
Not. He doesn't compete with those films, but I think too it's a popularity issue.
But Thor is Marvel's Superman. Thor is that guy.
I don't know if he's that guy.
Who would you put on just
as Marvel's Superman? Yeah. As far as power or popularity?
I'm talking power. I'm talking power.
Power, you probably have to say Thor. Either that or what's her name? Miss Marvel is no joke, bro.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel is no joke. She's Miss Marvel.
Yeah. No, you got a point. But I would say that Thor has more popularity, more clout than Miss Marvel.
Carol Danvers is pretty well known. Thor has always been known too as a home run hitter too. So Thor is like the guy that comes in the comics and he's like, he comes in, bang, here comes the hammer, and then he's kind of back off to Asgard because he is a guy.
Yeah.
Like the films really have him chilling with the Avengers way more than he normally does, which is why I think they didn't include him at all in Civil War.
Well,
and then you couldn't because he would have just threw the hammer at everybody.
If it was Thor and it was Hulk, if you couldn't have Thor without Hulk, because then there would be no comparison. Right. Nobody could, go with those two guys.
How about this though? Can you argue that Spider-Man did not, in 10 minutes of screen time, just shit on every Spider-Man movie we've ever seen?
Here was the thing.
10 minutes of screen time.
He gave you the cartoon, Peter Parker that we grew up on, and just Spider-Man in general was just this wisecracking teen. Everything was fun to him.
Yeah, and
everything was new. It's like Winter Soldier is this fucking badass, and he throws a punch, and Spider-Man catches his metal arm and just goes, "Oh, you got a metal arm,
dude! That is so awesome."
I'm laughing hysterically, and my girlfriend does. I'm just like, if you know who Winter Soldier is, for him to boss up on Winter Soldier so easily,
it's crazy.
It was just so great. It was so great.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And actually, what's funny is that was actually one of the major Civil War changes that I was actually very happy with, because I think in order to keep the Avengers fresh, you have to kind of change things up. Yeah, so to throw a teenage kid as a superhero who could really stand toe to toe with the best of them in the mix with all these grown ass men. That's a much cooler dynamic than the Spider-Man from the Civil War comics who's already married with Mary Jane. Aunt May got the house extension. Like, he's a seasoned Superman, like superhero with the Peter Parker. Like, he's seasoned.
Who couldn't Spider-Man stand with in that movie? Nobody that couldn't stand with.
He was just great. I thought his name is Tom Hiddleston or something like that. He really did a great job.
Phenomenal job.
Him
and Black Panther stole the show.
Yeah, and I really feel bad for Andrew Garfield. I feel like Andrew Garfield got a bum rap. I did like both of those Spider-Man films, and they were very accurate to the comics. But again,
they got a lot of grief.
Because people don't know comics. People were furious that Gwen Stacy dies.
Yeah,
I'm like, Spider-Gwen. Gwen is the first love. Like, she dies. If anything, I would have kept Gwen alive a little bit longer, had her become Spider-Gwen, then kill her off.
Well, now Spider-Gwen is her kind of own, like, that's another universe. That's like,
right, but I would have if they were worried about her.
Yeah, okay.
I would just incorporate that in. Yeah. But if you want to be true to the comics, this is what happens. I mean, you got to kind of accept it. And people just didn't want to accept it. And then he kind of had to take the heat for that. And I thought he would have been great. And he would have fit in that Avengers group too. But this kid really takes the cake, and I'm very excited to see the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man. I think we're going to see the closest thing to the cartoon we grew up on.
Spider-Man Homecoming, I think.
It's going to be phenomenal.
I can't wait for that.
That's the number one film from the Marvel Universe I'm looking forward to.
Spider-Man?
Right now. Oh, yeah. That and Black Panther. I love the Black Panther statue. I mean, Wakanda's looking like, it's looking like a black Asgard.
But, you know what? It really is. It really is. I was telling the guy at my job, I said, but, let's not forget now who his girl is. Ooh. Like, I would love to get, and I know with the whole Fox and MCU, it just probably won't happen.
Storm would be dope.
But Storm would be dope. Listen,
well,
what would really be dope.
They can use Storm, though. They can use Storm. So, what I read is, it's not that they can't use X-Men characters. What they have to do is you can't call them mutants. You have to call them specials. That's why they were able to have Wanda and Quicksilver because Quicksilver is, but in that he's a mutant and he's Magneto's son. Right, you know what I mean? But in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Hydra created them, and they're called specials. You know what I mean? So they could definitely throw Storm in it.
Give me Storm, and give me the girl that's playing Storm right now. Give me her
as Storm. I like the mohawk.
I like the gangsta. I love it.
I like it. I never liked Halle Berry as Storm, and I think the reason is because.
All right, let me just.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to say it.
You're stepping on some real sensitive ground right now. Okay.
I just, Halle Berry never struck me as that kind of woman to play such a strong character in the sense of like this woman Storm is like straight out of Africa. Straight.
Okay, I can see.
Halle just doesn't.
That.
Like Halle Berry totally Americanized Storm, and I didn't like that.
Okay, fair.
I didn't like that.
Fair.
This woman here in the new one doesn't seem like she'll do that.
I want to see what she does.
Look wise, and like the few words I've seen her say in the trailer, I just think that she'll do a better job.
That could be badass. I want to see how Storm. I'm mainly excited about Storm and Psylocke. That's what I'm
very excited to see Psylocke.
Because I know
Olivia Munn looks just like her.
Olivia Munn was like, she didn't want to play any character unless it was like a strong character. Yep. And then when she saw the outfit, she was like, I'm cool with wearing the outfit, but she got to be badass. Yeah. Like she's got to be kicking ass and taking names. So I'm excited to see that. What do you think about, but it was another question that I had and I wanted to touch on with you. Seeing is that Fox has, I know you know about some of the rights that they got when Marvel had to sell off some of their stuff when they were going bankrupt in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Like they got this stranglehold on Galactica because he was sold.
Oh, Galactus.
Because he was sold with the Fantastic Four, a couple other things too. I can't remember some of the other characters, but like the Eater of Worlds has to come through at some point.
My problem with this is, so in the comics, right, you look at the comics and you look at the Eater of Worlds, and he's just this big dude with this wild helmet, and he's eating planets like fruit. Literally. Like he's biting into planets like it's an apple.
Right.
How does this guy come to Earth and fight? Now, I could imagine him being the next big fight after Thanos. Well, that's what I'm assuming.
After Thanos, that's the only big guy you can go after.
I just don't know, right? I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if there's just certain people I don't know if they could really bring them to life on the big screen without being this complete CGI. It's not like Galactus was like the kind of villain that has like a psyche that's like, whoa. Like Thanos, he's crazy. He could punch you and like turn you into Bruce Banner. He's super strong, but he's got a psyche that's like, wow. He's got this larger than life. Just like he wows you by how he talks. And Josh Brolin is going to completely capture that.
I would agree.
If anything. You know what I mean?
I would agree.
But with Galactus, it's like, okay, like Galactus, like, I'm Galactus, Eater of Worlds. Like, that's literally how he talks. So it's like to put that on the big screen. And I think that's why the Fantastic Four film franchise, they obviously made a mistake, but they went with, instead of making Galactus a person, let's kind of make him like this entity. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And not really show us anybody. And I almost didn't mind them doing that, except the rest of the film was very bad. Well, so it just didn't really work.
I didn't feel like they did Silver Surfer that much justice, but that was
the other problem too.
Because obviously we could
But that was supposed to build onto more films, and because it did so bad, they killed the franchise. So that was supposed to be an intro for Silver Surfer, and then he was supposed to really get
Silver Surfer.
And Silver Surfer's badass. But again, it's like I just can't see Galactus on the big screen done properly.
And the reason I bring him up is obviously everything is working towards Infinity Wars. Mm-hmm. They're going to do that. Obviously, Phase 4 and Phase 5, they got to start working towards something else. Who else is big enough where you need to bring all of those people together?
Well, I'm hoping that by the time, Thanos and all that is done, when they're working on those other phases, I'm hoping by then the Marvel Cinematic Universe will have enough money where they can buy out Fox's rights to those characters, and then maybe we can get a proper Phoenix Saga. Or maybe we can get a proper Sinister Six saga, where instead of now, right, because now this is all leading up to we all must fight against one.
Right.
Now what if the next phase is we all must fight our counterparts? So maybe make a Sinister Six, not so much like a Sinister Six versus Spider-Man, but instead like literally like the best villains against the best of the Avengers. Almost like a how the Justice League, and then you have the Ministry of Evil. You know what I mean? Like maybe they do something like that. Maybe they gotta do something original. I don't know. I mean, it's just there's so many bad guys, but because they're leading up to Thanos is really Endgame. There's really no Marvel villain, in my opinion, that's popular enough and badass enough to really steal the show after Thanos, especially when you have an actor like Josh Brolin playing him. So it's going to be very difficult to see what it does moving forward.
I mean, you got those, it's escaping me right now. In the Civil War, in the real comic book of the Civil War. No, not the Civil War. Hold on, give me a second here. What are they called? They're like the Architects or something. Who's trying to? It's in the comic books. It's they're all the Avengers are off fighting these guys when Thanos comes to try to take over from the Inhumans. What are those guys called? They're called like the Builders.
The Builders.
Builders. I mean, you could bring the Builders in. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the Builders. They're more.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Builders.
If you're going to bring the whole universe together, you're going to have the Guardians of the Galaxy characters.
They just have to make sure whoever they bring in maintain the level of like, oh, who's that? Like, I think that was the big thing. Like, after we saw Avengers, right?
Right.
And then everybody stayed for the post credits, right? Because we were all seasoned and knew that you had to stay.
Yep.
And when you saw the Chitauri talking, and then you heard that guy's voice, and he turned around, all you seen was the smile. Two things happened, right? Every nerd was like, oh my God, dude, like Thanos, like, ah. And then the other was, who the hell is that?
Right.
Who the hell is that?
You didn't know, you were like, who the hell is that?
So then you going home and you Googling like, who the hell is that? And then you're like, Thanos. And now you're reading up on him. So now you have people who don't really know comics, but they know who Thanos is.
Whoa.
So you have to make sure whoever comes next
bully on the yard right there
is somebody that makes you say, yo, who that? You know what I mean? And I don't know if the Builders can do that. They might not be able to do that.
They wouldn't be able to do that.
And the thing is, what Marvel does not want to do, they want to keep the nerds happy, but they don't want to upset the general public. DC doesn't care. DC right now is on, because here's the thing, they're like, we're going to make our money through the fans regardless.
True.
So damn the general public, the general audience. Marvel's like, well, we want the general audience and we want the nerds, yeah. Which is why they had that, they had a meme up and it was like Batman grossed 880 something million or whatever in 2 months. And then Civil War did it in a weekend. Wrap your head around that. Civil War did it in a weekend. You know what I mean? So but at the end of the day, money being made is money being made.
True.
So, but as far as like Marvel, I don't really know who they're going to go with. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the Builders. If Galactus could be done right, that would be a great.
Well, Galactus is the only guy on Thanos' level who you would definitely need everybody. Mm-hmm. You would need everybody to go after him.
Yeah.
But you're right. I didn't think about it that way where he would be hard because he eats.
He's going to be hard to top, dude. Like, and he's going to be hard to show, like, what are you going to do? You're going to have like Galactus eat the moon and then he's like, he's coming to Earth. Like, I just don't know how they're going to do that without making it look like
fake
Star Wars or Star Trek. And you know, it's very difficult to do. And that's why they were so scared to do Guardians of the Galaxy. Cause like, we don't want to make a space movie. Right. We want to make a Marvel film and they were able to succeed in doing that.
Let me tell you something. Guardians of the Galaxy, which I was super excited. when they said they were doing it. I mean, they could, to me,
excellent
they couldn't have
cast.
hit that
Great job.
more out of, first of all,
home run.
Zoe, you already know what it is. We've had our conversations. No, everybody, like, even when they picked up Batista, I was like, this guy did a good job. Yeah. Batista did a really good job.
And you know what? And it doesn't hurt being a movie underdog where people don't know what you are. People don't really care. They're like, whatever, either way. And then your star is a funny guy.
Chris Pratt was amazing.
Let's chop some of the weight down, put some abs on this guy, but keep the funny. Oh, this guy's so charismatic. Look at him. He can, he's literally, the Captain Kirk of Marvel.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And he completely captured that analogy, and he really brought it to life on the big screen. And I'm excited to see Guardians 2. I really am. I'm kind of curious to see who the villain's going to be. They're being really hush hush about it.
Yeah, I see that they keep picking up actors, but they're not saying
who they are.
I think they picked up Kurt Russell and they picked up somebody else too. And I'm like, all right, but who are these guys?
Speaking of actors being picked up, Lupita Nyong'o has been cast in Black Panther along with Michael B. Jordan, who's rumored to be the villain. Well, he's rumored to be the villain. So I'm wondering who he's going to be. Maybe Krull?
Could be.
You know what I mean? So I'm very curious to see how they're going to do that. I'm very excited for those movies.
And they haven't said who Lupita's going to be, right?
No, they're saying possibly one of her like high assassins. Like we saw one of
let me tell you something. It was like
she was tough too.
It was like 10 seconds.
I was like, please let her and Scarlett Johansson fight. Please let her and Scarlett Johansson
fight. Every geek knew exactly who she was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she's one of the
and it's funny because I remember my wife being like, "Who's the bald one?"
Right?
I was just like, "Oh man, I'll explain later."
just to give you a little hint on it, Quet. So T'Challa is walking out, and Scarlett's. Oh, you saw it, right? So when he's getting into the car, and like Scarlett is like right there, and she's like, they get that,
or you will be moved.
Or you'll be moved. That's one of Black Panther's assassin guards. That's like his Secret Service almost. It's like his.
So what I did was before this, I watched like a whole Black Panther series that won't on DVD, and I went on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so you were that would have been entertaining. And it's no way if you were like a fan of comic books or a geek that you didn't geek out real quick. Just let them throw down.
Just 2 punches.
2 punches.
2 punches.
That
3
would
kicks.
Be so
please,
good.
Please.
Oh my goodness. But that would be.
But
good.
So she's rumored to be like the high one of those.
Okay.
Possibly one of his, because I think Black Panther marries 3 times. He marries.
I thought it was twice, but
I think it's 3 because Storm, I think, is the 3rd one he marries, or the middle one. But I think he marries 3 times.
But I thought because there's so many different stories.
Yeah.
I thought Storm he met when they were young, they were teenagers. Then they reconnected later.
You know what? You might be right. No, because in the comics, Storm is orphaned, and she's brought. Yeah, she's orphaned really, really young because her village is burnt down and stuff, and she watches her family get killed. And I don't know if they met. I don't know if they meet young. I think you're thinking of his first love, which I think is one of his assassins or one of his like Secret Service chicks, which I think that's who they're gonna have Lupita playing, who I think is a phenomenal actress. So I
think she's phenomenal.
I really liked the actors that they're bringing into this Black Panther film, especially because, it's Marvel Cinematic Universe, but also it's Black Panther. It's a mythical African country. But they still need to bring Africa into this film.
Right. And this is what we got now.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And not to make it about race, nothing like that.
But we don't got many. But we don't got many.
Right. We don't have too many superheroes. The other, our biggest one in DC is Jon Stewart, and they just made him gay. So
yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Which is nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but he wasn't like that when the cartoon started, so I'm confused. You know what I mean?
We don't got many.
The other black superhero is really a Martian. So what is the undertone with that?
I mean, listen,
he's a Martian called John Jones, spelt with a Z, and when he transforms into a human, he's a black guy.
How do you feel about?
That's who he associates with.
How do you feel about John Jones being played on Supergirl?
I like it a lot.
I do too.
I like it a lot. Too. I'm actually a huge fan of Supergirl. I'm ecstatic that CW picked it up.
Yeah. It couldn't survive on CBS.
It couldn't survive on CBS because CBS does not bring that kind of fan base.
And, the fact
that they were playing it the same time as Gotham, and Gotham has now blown up. So,
Gotham. We definitely need to talk about Gotham, but yeah, you're right.
It blew up, so they had to bring it over to CW.
I like that it's going to be on CW. I liked when the Flash came. I like when the Flash, kind of explained the multiverse thing. I thought that was really, really cool.
I love what DC Television is doing right now, and I love that they're keeping it separate from the movies.
So here, okay. Before we go into it, here's the big thing: who's doing it better, DC TV or Marvel on Netflix?
Oh,
because let me tell you something.
That's tough. That's tough, though. That's
Jessica Jones is by far my favorite thing on Netflix.
Yeah, more than Daredevil.
And don't
get me wrong.
Daredevil
season 2.
This season,
John Bernthal as Punisher.
Listen,
Ooh-wee.
That was
Elektra.
crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah.
And listen, it's hard to. The way they introduced Jessica Jones and everything, I just loved it.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give the edge to DC on television.
Okay.
I'm gonna give the edge to DC on television. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
It's in this day and age where you can binge watch shows. You don't have to really watch it there right when it's on. They're fighting for views. Views is how you stay on. It's how you get contracts.
Very true.
So for Arrow and The Flash and now DC Legends of Tomorrow, which had a slow start and picked up and is going to get the second season.
Okay.
Supergirl getting picked up for the second season. I have to give them the edge because that's very difficult to do. You can throw something on Netflix and it doesn't really matter if people watch it or not. Because you just throw it on Netflix. You know what I mean? It's Netflix. And you're going to get your money regardless because it's $11 a month. So, but, and it's Marvel. Again, it's Marvel. And Marvel is just like this juggernaut. So like, I give a lot of love to DC, even though Marvel is my favorite. If I had to pick between Marvel and DC, Marvel is my favorite, but I'm really, really impressed with DC television. I love Grant, Austin as the Flash. I love Stephen Amell as the Arrow.
But Marvel, even though it's my favorite too, and it's the top, it's the king. Mm-hmm. I've still always have felt like DC got the top two guys. Superman and Batman, to me, are more famous.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It's just preference. I mean, your Batman for Marvel is Iron Man, and your Superman for Marvel is probably Thor, like you said.
Right. So, and to me, it's always been more
See, I've never been a Superman fan, personally.
I'm not a Superman fan either.
First of all, he's an alien. So if anything, he should be super alien. He's not a
very
man.
True.
He's from Krypton.
I don't care if he was raised in the heartland of America.
Which I have a hard time even believing that that's true.
But,
Shout out to Kansas.
Yeah.
But I just, it's just I've never really been a big Superman guy. I've always been a huge fan of Batman. Always been a huge fan of just superheroes that really don't have superpowers. Right. And they rely on their will and their wit and their brains in order to get the job done.
That's a conversation that you need to have with Michael Smith and Jemele Hill, who always debate on whether Batman is really a superhero.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
It's hilarious because Michael Smith,
because he's got super money. Batman has super money that allows him to make super stuff,
which is what Michael Smith said. Which is what Michael Smith says, and Jamele's like, yeah, but that's just anybody can have super money. Like
no, they can't. They can't.
It's a debate. Oh my god, it's such a good debate. You should hear him talk about it one of these times. Yeah, but I agree with you. My favorite superheroes have always been the more obscure, more lesser known guys.
Okay.
Like who goes around saying that the Black Bolt is their favorite? You know what I mean?
I respect that though.
Who goes around saying that Rogue, right? Who goes around saying Rogue is their favorite and stuff like that?
I've always been a fan of the little guys. Always been a huge Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
I also like the wisecracking guys, so I love Gambit.
Yep. Obviously Deadpool.
Rogue, Deadpool.
I would love to see them bring Domino.
Huge fan of Blade.
Oh,
huge fan of Blade. I've actually read that they're thinking of bringing the franchise back.
I heard about that.
Wesley's a little too old for it, unfortunately, because he was great. But they're thinking of actually having, he had a daughter, and she's going to be.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Which I wouldn't mind seeing. I mean, we're definitely in an era of women kicking a lot of ass, and you know what?
As long as they
I don't have a hard time with it. As long as they kick ass properly.
The right girl, the right woman to play it.
Oh yeah.
Then I don't think they would.
Yeah, as long as it's not Halle Berry or someone like that playing Blade. No. It's got to be someone gritty and like a Zoe Saldana, like an actress like that. Not particularly her, because I don't think she fits that look. No, but an actress like that.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Even though I got to give Wesley Snipes his props for he was in this show called The Player that got canceled, which is beyond.
Oh, me. I did see. I watched the first episode. It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
was it a good show?
I thought it was great. It just didn't catch. It was going up again. It was either Player or Blind Spot. And Blind Spot was just getting more viewers.
Which is funny because they both got canceled. Blind Spot got canceled.
Did it?
Yeah, I read it.
Get
got
out of
canceled.
here.
Yeah,
It must have just got canceled.
and I think this girl is pissed because I think now I don't think she's in Thor because she was making this show. Yep.
Oh, that would suck.
And
it really
which does suck because she
that.
goes bad in the comics.
I know.
So
Yeah,
she's kind of key to that. You know, she's key to that story, to his whole story, because she falls in love with him, which you kind of see a little bit
from all
in the first two.
The first two, you can see she was already.
But they're not focusing enough to really foreshadow her going bad.
It'd be kind of dope if Jane Foster becomes
the new Thor.
The new Thor,
that would be cool. But I don't know how I feel about
Natalie Portman can't.
Natalie Portman as a
No.
superhero.
Natalie Portman can't do it. I don't even know. And this is a joke from Janine Garofalo. She said, I don't even believe that Natalie Portman takes shits. It's like impossible. She said it's just impossible that she has like a digestive tract. Like it's impossible. But, yeah.
That's funny.
I would like to see some of the ways that they would, go in the future.
I would love to be on a production team. I would love to be like on the idea board. Like I just would love to see. I would love to be a fly on the wall. I would love to be a fly on the wall for either Marvel, like when they'd be like, so what's the next plan, guys? Like I would just love to like spitball with those guys, or even DC.
I'm dying to hear. I'm dying to just see anything, just like a glimmer of what Phase 4 is going to be. Ugh. Like just a glimmer, because obviously we're in Phase 3. At some point within the next 2 years, I think we should know what's going on with Phase 4. But
I think we'll know by the Infinity Wars. I mean, 2 years or so. Like by the time Infinity Wars drops, because they're gonna have post credits that's gonna be like, this is what's next.
But
oh
god, but I love that. I'm telling you, we could do this all day.
Absolutely,
we could do this all day, and I'm sure we'll do it again another time. And John, man, thanks for coming on the show. And
no problem. Thank you.
Let me tell you something. Black people can geek out too.
Oh yeah,
I can,
totally.
I can have a girl and I can have a job and I can geek out as well. You know what I mean? And I can be from the hood and all that stuff. So
listen, man, I got all those Funko Pops and I got comic books up the wazoo. I got a WWE heavyweight belt at home. I'm as nerd as they come. I'm already planning to go to Comic-Con with my son. So
nerds are winning. Nerds are winning.
Nerds are definitely winning.
But John, man, thanks for coming on the show. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. I'm your boy Chris G.
I'm your boy John West.
And this is Don't Shoot the Messenger Special Edition. Peace.